What up, and welcome to Lions Nation Unite. I am Easy, and today we will be discussing Tim Twentyman, Detroit Lions team reporters, top 10 free agents the Detroit Lions should look into signing this offseason. Now, if you guys don't know, free agency starts next week, March 12th, I believe. I could be way off on that date. I just know it's next week's Wednesday from today, and Tim Twentyman, team reporter, dropped his top 10 free agents. Now, but before we get started, though, please do the simplest, easiest favor. Smash the like button, please. I mean, it's so easy to do. If not, you want to go above and beyond, feel free to share it. Share it to your mom, your cousin, your brother, sister, granny. Doesn't matter, whoever it is. Feel free to share the stream as well. But most importantly, smash that like button. Let's jump into it. Tim Twentyman, as I mentioned before, he is the senior writer for the Detroit Lions. Shout out Michael Hare, who's recently retired. But yeah, Tim dropped the top 10 free agents for the Detroit Lions to sign, and it starts off with Milton Williams. If you guys aren't familiar, he is a defensive tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles, more so a rotational piece, and this is what Tim had to write about him. He says, Williams was the best player up front on defense during Philadelphia's playoff run to the Super Bowl title. He had 5 sacks and 10 quarterback hits as a rotational piece during the regular season, and 2 more sacks in the playoffs. The only problem is he's set to have a big market at only 26 years old. And it could potentially cost more than the Lions are willing to spend in free agency this offseason. I think that last line is probably the most important. At only 26, him having a big market, him having a huge impact on winning a Super Bowl is why he's not going to be a Detroit Lion. I don't know. This isn't ranked in any type of 1 through 10, so I'm not going to jump on Tim for having this guy on the list or being the first guy on the list to even read, but Milton Williams, there's certain players, right, as Detroit Lions fans, me specifically, I guess. I can't speak to everybody, but I think you should all start programming your brain this way. Rotational piece, big market. No, number one, actually, big market, any position, get it out your head. Get it out your head. The only one I could ever see him slipping up on would be the edge position. But then again, you had Danielle Hunter as a free agent last year. We've seen a couple big name edges at the market, and obviously they did not become Detroit Lions under the tutelage of Brad Holmes. That's something you need to condition your brains to. Another thing, too, just throw it in here. If an edge isn't weighing 265 plus, if he is in a 3-4 scheme, if he doesn't set the edge or play the run, like Hassan Reddick, don't just program your brain to turn off to that type of news. It's probably not going to happen. I can give you some hope and form that we technically do have a new defensive coordinator in Kelvin Shepard, who I think is a brilliant guy. And we did run a 3-4 briefly before we got the other pieces around Aiden Hutchinson and whatnot. Now it's 4-3, and I expect it to stay the same. Who knows, though? Maybe things could change. But Milton Williams, I'm out. You guys let me know what you're thinking in the comments, though. Should the Detroit Lions go and pursue Milton Williams, 26-year-old, just won a Super Bowl? Next on this list, an OG of the game, a guy that once terrorized Detroit Lions quarterbacks, Khalil Mack, the 11-year veteran, can still get after the quarterback and stop the run. Mack would be a part of a pass rush trio in Detroit alongside Aiden Hutchinson and Darius Smith, where he won't be asked to play every down at 34 years old. He proved last year he could still make a difference, 6 sacks and 15 quarterback hits, and could make a run at the Super Bowl with Detroit on a short-term deal. This one's a little bit more intriguing because, yeah, how do you say no to a guy like Khalil Mack, right? Like I don't want to call him a legend. He's a former Bear. If he is a legend, it's hard for me to even ever admit that. But I would love to have Khalil Mack. But I'm looking at just the way these things are going. If he's in pursuit of a bag, is he in pursuit of a championship at 34 years old? Like, what does he want to do? He hasn't won a championship, so maybe that's something he does want to do, join the Detroit Lions. But then there's the other thing where I program myself not to, pay attention or get excited about. He's kind of a smaller defensive end. He's not really that 265-plus guy that the Detroit Lions seem to like to have. And if you guys don't believe me in that, I mean, go look at the track record of the guys we've drafted, the guys we've signed, from Josh Pascal to Marcus Davenport to John Kaminsky. Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson, you throw in there too. Like, they're bigger body guys. There was one man that was drafted to be a linebacker who turned out he could rush the passer very, very well. His name was James Houston. Not the biggest guy. And guess what? He's also not on this team anymore. But Khalil Mack, maybe that's the exception. This guy has had arguably a Hall of Fame career. Well, you guys let me know in the comment section. Do you want Khalil Mack as a Detroit Lion? I think the easy answer for that one is yes. So you know what? I'll say yes if we're playing that game. Moving on. On the offensive side of the ball, guard Brandon Scherff. Scherff is 33 years old. He's been a model of consistency over the last 3 years in Jacksonville, starting all 17 games with Jacksonville Jaguars each season. He didn't allow a single sack and over 1,000 snaps last season and would be a plug-and-play veteran addition that's still one of the best blocking players at his position in veteran free agent market. Kevin Zeitler, if Kevin Zeitler doesn't return to the team. I don't want to say fall in love with Kevin Zeitler, but I feel like that guy, we see his wife tweet about it once Hank Fraley re-signed with the Detroit Lions to be both run game coordinator and continue his job, obviously, as offensive line coach. But his wife celebrated, like, oh, you guys are back in Detroit. Like, we can't wait to see you. Kevin Zeitler's wife said that to Hank Fraley's wife. So I felt like he was coming back. If he's not coming back, yeah, I don't see a problem with Brandon Scherff. I think nowadays, look at these guards in free agency, and they're getting the bag. I mean, geez Louise, the guy at the Panthers last year signed for $20 million. Jonah Jackson, who played, I think, 18 games in the past 2 years, making $17 million, and the Bears happily traded for that contract. Guy like Brandon Scherff, coming towards the end of his career, wants to win a Super Bowl. I feel like he'd be willing to, give you something a little bit more reasonable, similar to the deal that Kevin Zeitler signed last year for $6 million. I'm all about getting a veteran guard, especially one that's played at like an all-pro caliber level for a majority of his career, if not all of his career, like Brandon Scherff. The model of consistency, Tim Twentyman called him. Yes, Brandon Scherff, sign me up. Yes, son of a, I'm in. I'll move back to the defensive side of the ball. Dayo Odeyingbo. That's a tough one. D-A-Y-O, Dayo. That part's easy. But O-D-E-Y-I-N-G-B-O, that one was tough. The Lions love the idea of signing a big edge rusher and Marcus Davenport opposite of Hudson last year to collapse the pocket. Odeyingbo is 6'6", 286 pounds, and has 11 sacks and 34 quarterback hits combined over the last 2 seasons. If this man was putting on such a performance, I would know his name. But you know what? I like that I don't. That means he's cheap. That means it's affordable. And that means that's a guy Brad Holmes is probably looking to bring in free agency to provide depth, if not start on the opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. Sign me some Dayo. Okay-o? Bring him home. I'm all about that one, brother. Come on home with Dayo. And staying on the defensive side of the ball, Darius Slay, 34 years old, is set to be released by the Eagles in a cost-cutting move. Per NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport, and the veteran cornerback has said publicly he still wants to play at least one more season. He can provide veteran leadership and depth to Detroit's young cornerback room on a likely cost-friendly deal. Teams completed just 54% of passes thrown his way, and he only gave up 2 touchdowns in 14 starts. He can still play. I talked about this briefly before, and I wasn't aware of the 54% completion percentage when thrown his way. I'm a Darius Slay fan. I love Darius Slay, to be honest with you. Team-friendly deal. It's crazy when you think about his story here in Detroit. When he come up, he had a veteran guy in the locker room that kind of used to be a dog too, and Rasheed Mathis. And Darius Slay to this day will give Rasheed Mathis tons of credit for helping transform his game, help him level up to the NFL level. I hate using the word level that many times in a sentence, but it happened. We're getting over that. Yeah. I was kind of on the opposite of this. I thought he was going to be chasing a bag, but just knowing the way that he came up here in Detroit specifically, and we have a young kid in Terran Arnold who's entering his second year, where Slade started to make his ascent. Bring him home. Darius Slade, come back to the Detroit Lions. Absolutely, I'm down for that one. Love that one. Defensive lineman, Sebastian Joseph-Day, if you will. The veteran turns 30 this month, and he has carved out a 6-year career playing for a number of different teams at nose tackle, defensive tackle, and defensive end. He played in 17 games, 12 starts last year for the Tennessee Titans, with 44 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and 6 quarterback hits. His versatility to play anywhere up front is his biggest asset. Could be an Aaron Glenn thing. I think it's a Dan Campbell thing. Just no one bargained Ben Brad, with all due respect, Mr. Brad Holmes. They love that versatility. I think last year is a perfect example of why you love the versatility, because you went down multiple guys, but you had multiple guys who had already been cross-training multiple positions. So yeah, you it sucked to lose certain dudes, but you're able to plug and play certain guys immediately, and that's not always the case. Now, obviously got out of hand a little bit there, and you had to pick up some guys off the street and free agency to then start those very same weeks. And you don't want that to happen. But a guy like Sebastian Joseph-Day is extremely valuable. I remember I liked him a lot as a Charger. I would be completely fine with this. I think DJ Reader, also 30-plus years old now, he's getting a little bit up there. I think the most efficient defensive line play I've seen all around, by the way, I'm talking about like sacks, run defense, all the above, was when Jim Schwartz was here, and him and Gunther Cunningham famously rotated those defensive lines. They gave those big guys, big fellas, a break. I think Sebastian Joseph-Day would allow that for a guy like DJ Reader if he's playing nose tackle. And hell, you're in a situation right now where you don't know when Lee McNeil will be available to play, and not just to play, but to play at the level that he was at when we signed that extension, which was, I want to, for damn sure, a top 10 contract in the defensive tackle market, right? So, yeah, I think the versatility alone, I think just the way you could spell guys a few series, a few plays to keep them fresh when it matters most. I would love to sign Sebastian Joseph-Day. I'm not familiar with what his market is. Turning 30 this month is not that bad in the NFL, especially if the defensive line position. You don't need to be extremely agile. I'm talking about the tier defensive line more specifically, I guess. Like, you don't need to be spring chicken. We've seen guys like a couple guys at the Philadelphia Eagles actually play for long, long years at the defensive tackle position. Bring him home. I'm saying yes to everything. I need to calm down. I need to relax. Aziz Ojulari. There's a difficult name, but I pronounce it because he did good things. You know what I'm saying? Odeyingbo, we got to get you on the ball here in Detroit. Start doing some good things, and everybody just knows how to pronounce that name easily. Aziz Ojulari. Let me get off on a little tangent here, a little rant, if I will, because I am a guy. Obviously, no, but I was a Madden kid growing up, and my favorite thing to do, because my team was the Detroit Lions and they weren't the best, was hit that franchise mode and just get to cooking up a Super Bowl contender right here in Detroit, our very own. And I thought I did pretty well. Played some of the games. Maybe started some of these games, but we won a few Super Bowls. Puts you that way. I wanted to be a general manager. I didn't pursue that coming out of high school into college, and obviously that's why I'm here right now. But like a guy named Joe Shane, general manager of the New York Giants, where Aziz Ojulari just was. How are you? You make me feel like I can be a general manager. The Saquon Barkley stuff, like you could have re-signed him. You could have, obviously, number one option probably would have been to re-sign arguably the best running back in the league, right? Especially when you have a quarterback, Daniel Jones, who's not very dependable, and you need that running game to help set him up. A lot of people have that feeling about Jared Goff, is that he needs that running game to set him up. Yeah, I'd have to agree, right? But not only did you not re-sign him, you let him walk for nothing. You didn't tag him. You didn't try to trade him. Horrible mistake. Fast forward, after you're learning your lesson, the season of, Saquon Barkley is on the pace to have the all-time NFL rushing record. And you have a man named Aziz Ojulari in your locker room playing linebacker very well, Sam linebacker specifically, getting after the quarterback, dropping into coverage. It became a coveted asset amongst the NFL teams looking to acquire a Sam linebacker. But you stayed put and you didn't trade Aziz Ojulari. And now here he is, set the test of free agency market, and you're about to lose another guy for absolutely nothing. Tangent over. Joe Sheen, terrible, terrible, terrible general manager. Holy cow. Cannot believe he kept this job. Over. I promise. We're done now. Ojulari can provide some position versatility and versatility. I'm so used to Smitty saying that. Versatility in Kelvin Shepard's defense as a Sam linebacker and rotational edge rusher if the team can't re-sign free agent Derek Barnes. He had 6 sacks in 11 games for the Giants last season, and he has 22 sacks in 46 games throughout his career. I hate that I've said yes to everybody, but let me be realistic about it. Sebastian Joseph-Day, I think that's affordable contract. I think Odeyingbo, I think that's an affordable contract. Don't know his name. I feel like I would if he was really good. Darius coming back on a veteran thing. Affordable contract. Scherff, old, affordable contract. I mean, Tim knows what's going on. He knows bargain bin Brad. He knows how he shops. These are a lot of affordable contracts. Aziz Ojulari might not be that. Like I said, there was a market for him at the deadline. He might get a bag. I would love to have him here. I would love to have that Sam linebacker. I think Derek Barnes did make a difference for us when available, specifically getting after the quarterback. Obviously, had a big interception against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I would proceed with caution. I guess we'll leave it at that. I'd proceed with caution. And I could see this one actually coming to fruition, but like, what type of money is he asking for? It's a second contract. He's going to want a bag because you can't guarantee your career in this NFL. It's not for long. That's what NFL stands for. Moving on. Offense side of the ball. Receiver Josh Palmer, St. Brown, and Williams are clear number 1 and 2 in Detroit. And punt returner Khalil is a nice option in the passing game. But the Lions could stand to add another reliable receiver option, probably a young draft pick if they can't re-sign Tim Patrick. The 25-year-old Palmer has recorded at least 500 receiving yards in each of his last 3 seasons for the Chargers. His frame, 6'1", 210 pounds, give the Lions a little more size at the position. Last sentence, again, once more, a little more size. I don't mind Josh Palmer, but I want a little more size. Tim Patrick, like 6'4". I guess Josh Reynolds is one like 6. No, Josh Reynolds like 6'4" too. I want a bigger guy. If you're talking about grabbing a wide receiver to play the X position, I would be fine with this. I think it'd be a little bit more settling than it is, upgrading at all. 25 years old, probably wants a little bit more money than most people too are willing to offer him. I feel like if this signing would be settling, I'd almost rather draft somebody. But this draft, somebody going to fall to you in the draft. This is widely regarded a weak wide receiver class, as well it is in free agency too. That's the reason why Josh Palmer might get the bag, because there's not many guys to sign in free agency. And yes, I know DK Metcalf from the trade market. I saw that. He wants a new deal. Another thing, program my brain to turn off. It's just not going to happen. Saw Tyler Lockett was released and Devontae Adams was released. But let's be real, those things aren't happening. Moving on. Javon Kinlaw, defensive tackle, former San Francisco defensive tackle, had his best season with the Jets on a 1-year deal last season, recording 40 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 5 tackles for loss. He's played in all 17 games the last 2 seasons after dealing with injuries in 2021 and 2022. He's 6'5", 319 pounds, and would offer a little different skill set than Lee McNeil and DJ Reader as positional piece inside. Yeah. What do you mean, a veteran guy? Affordable contract. You're not going to have Lee McNeil for sure or not. Yes, Javon Kinlaw, come on home. We need you, bro. Quite literally, we need you. Come on home. Last name on this list before I get going, guys, and please, if you haven't already, make sure to smash that like button. Talanoa Hufanga. The read-up, the blurb, is Joseph and Brian Branch are the starters at safety for the Lions in 2025. But if Fontu isn't re-signed, they are a little short on depth there. Hufanga was an all-pro in 2022, but struggled through injuries in the last 2 seasons. He could be a nice box safety option and provide some depth at the position overall. Everything about that makes sense. As a free agent, you're out to make dollars. This is his second deal. And as he mentioned, a former All-Pro, I feel like he's going to price himself out of the Detroit Lions market. I feel like re-signing a Fontu would probably be more affordable than signing Hufanga. And I don't even know if we're going to do that, because he's going to have a hell of a market too. He's a top 10 guy in this free agent market at that position. So I'm not necessarily declining, but just, again, program my brain to think the way Brad does, or just the way he's moved recently in the past few years as he's been general manager of the Detroit Lions. This one is probably not going to happen. This video's gone 20 minutes long. I didn't realize that. Make sure you guys do me the biggest favor right now. However, press the subscribe button. We'll be doing these weekly. Both myself, Spencer, KG, I think, is going to be making some videos here soon, I hear. as well as the Brits from over in the UK. The Brits with great, if you will, Uncle Kurt Steele, Scott Bischoff, Draft Scout. We'll drop another video tomorrow, too. Make sure you guys stay out for that one. That one will be at offensive lineman and a little bit of linebackers in there as well. Smash the like button, subscribe. As I said before, welcome to Lions Nation Unite. I am Easy. Oh, don't forget, check out the website, lionsnationunite.com. Check out the merch. Got some goodies there. My personal favorite, the Dan Campbell shirt. That is my. It keeps me going. Not the sole thing that keeps me going, but on a bad day, I could just Google up a quick Dan Campbell speech on YouTube or something like that, and I'm right back in the fight. Just have the Dan Campbell. Go grab that shirt. Also, other merch as well, Sonic and Knuckles, Grit, and all other things, blankets, coffee cups, hats, whatever you need. Lions Nation United has got it. I'm out.